Have you ever heard of the Great Fire of Rome? You probably picture Emperor Nero fiddling while the city burns, right? But what if I told you that story is likely a myth, and the real story is far more fascinating? What if I told you that this single devastating event secretly laid the groundwork for the modern cities we live in today? Stick around, because we're about to uncover a hidden legacy that's been forgotten for 2,000 years. It's the summer of 64. Rome is the heart of the world, a sprawling, chaotic metropolis of over 1 million people. Imagine Nero, winding streets packed with wooden tenements, shops, and warehouses, all baking under the hot Italian sun. On the night of July 18th, a fire breaks out in the merchant area surrounding the Circus Maximus, Rome's massive chariot racing stadium. Fanned by strong winds, the small flame explodes into an inferno. For 6 days and 7 nights, the fire rages uncontrollably. It devours everything in its path. Think about the materials used back then: wood, thatch, and cheap timber. These buildings were basically kindling. The fire leaps from rooftop to rooftop, creating a firestorm that turns night into a terrifying, blazing day. People are panicking, fleeing for their lives, trapped in the labyrinthine streets. The historian Tacitus, who was a child at the time, later wrote vivid accounts of the chaos, the screams, the collapsing buildings, the desperate search for loved ones. When the smoke finally clears, the devastation is almost total. Out of Rome's 14 districts, 3 are completely wiped off the map. 7 more are left as smoldering ruins. The heart of the Roman Empire is a wasteland of ash and rubble. Now, let's talk about Nero. The popular images of a mad tyrant, gleefully playing his lyre as his city crumbles. But here's the twist. Contemporary historians like Tacitus actually tell a different story. According to his account, Nero wasn't even in Rome when the fire started. He was at his villa in Ant. When he heard the news, he rushed back to the city and immediately organized relief efforts. He opened his own palaces and public gardens to house the homeless, and he arranged for food supplies to be brought in from surrounding towns to prevent a famine. He personally directed firefighters and rescue operations. So where did the fiddling story come from? It was likely political propaganda spread by his enemies later on. They wanted to paint him as a monster, and the story stuck. It's a classic case of fake news, ancient Roman style. But whether Nero was a hero or a villain in the immediate aftermath isn't the most important part of this story. The real legacy of the Great Fire begins with what happened next. With much of the city reduced to ash, Nero saw a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He wasn't just going to rebuild Rome, he was going to reinvent it. He launched one of the most ambitious urban renewal projects in history. This wasn't just about putting up new buildings. It was about creating a new kind of city, one that was safer, more organized, and more beautiful. Nero enacted a revolutionary new set of building codes. Think about it. This is the birth of urban planning as we know it. First, he mandated that streets be widened and straightened. No more narrow winding alleys that acted as fire tunnels. This allowed for better traffic flow and crucially created fire breaks that could stop a blaze from spreading. Second, he set limits on the height of buildings. Those dangerously tall, flimsy wooden tenements were outlawed. New apartment blocks, or insulae, had to be built to a more stable height. But the most genius innovation was the materials. Nero decreed that new buildings must be constructed, at least in their lower levels, from fire-resistant materials like brick and stone. He even promoted the use of a new wonder material, Roman concrete. This stuff was incredible. It was strong, versatile, and much less flammable than wood. He also required that buildings have their own independent walls, instead of sharing a common wall with the neighbor, which had previously allowed fire to jump from one building to the next with ease. He also thought about water. Nero ensured the city's aqueduct system was expanded and improved, not just for drinking water, but for firefighting. He required property owners to keep firefighting equipment, like buckets and axes, on hand. He even established a dedicated corps of watchmen, the vigiles, who served as both a police force and a fire brigade. This was a professional, publicly funded emergency service, an idea that was thousands of years ahead of its time. Of course, Nero also took advantage of the cleared land to build his own personal project, the Domus Aurea, or Golden House. This was an absurdly extravagant palace complex with artificial lakes, sprawling gardens, and pavilions covered in gold and jewels. This part of the story certainly fueled the rumors that he started the fire himself just to clear land for his vanity project. While there's no real evidence for that, it's easy to see why people were suspicious. He was essentially building a private paradise on top of a public tragedy. But let's step back from Nero's personal ambitions and look at the bigger picture. The new Rome that rose from the ashes was a model of urban design. The wide streets, the brick and stone construction, the public water access, the dedicated fire services, these weren't just Roman ideas. They became the foundational principles of city planning for the next 2 millennia. Think about any major city today. London, Paris, New York. After the Great Fire of London in 1666, what did they do? They widened the streets and mandated brick and stone construction, directly echoing Nero's reforms. When Haussmann redesigned Paris in the 19th century, he created the wide boulevards we see today, partly for military reasons, but also for sanitation and fire control. The grid system of many American cities, the fire codes that govern every building we enter, the fire hydrants on our street corners, and the fire departments ready to respond at a moment's notice. All of these can trace their conceptual lineage back to the ashes of ancient Rome. The Great Fire of 64 AD was an immense human tragedy. Thousands lost their homes, their livelihoods, and their lives. But out of that catastrophic destruction came a powerful, enduring idea that we can design our cities to be resilient. We can learn from disaster and build back better, safer, and stronger. Nero's New Rome, for all its controversy, was the first major city in history built with a conscious plan to mitigate the risk of fire. It was a blueprint for urban survival. So the next time you walk down a wide city street, or see a building made of brick and concrete, or hear a fire engine siren, take a moment to remember the Great Fire of Rome. It's a forgotten legacy, a hidden thread connecting our modern world to an ancient catastrophe. The fire may have been forgotten, but the lessons it taught us are built into the very fabric of the cities we call home. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this hidden history as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that change the way you see the world. See you in the next one.